A player who we watched a little bit yesterday and we have seen in the Open Series before making some deep runs. He's looking to do so again, this time with Teamer Dragons, a deck that it's just a small splash of blue. You've got Stubborn Isle, Savage Knuckleblade, and then a couple of sideboard cards. So he's not just the full three colors. He's definitely capital G, capital R, lowercase u.
So something to keep in mind here with the size of the tournament, this match almost amounts to a win-in for Kent.
Yeah, we're getting to that point.
He could lose 3 matches in a row, probably get an intentional draw in the last round, and be in the top 8 if he wins this round. So,
and Oppian Palace is where he starts things. Ferguson with 2 copies of Mayakos into a copy of Sylvan Caryatid as we are underway here in round number 11. Ketter, someone who had a lot of Open Series success last year, played in the Players' Championship, a healthy tournament there for him. Doesn't get to play as much now, given school, and he is a thriving paintball player as well. But this tournament is not too far from where he currently resides in Bloomington, Indiana, about an hour away, so no surprise to see him here, and no surprise to see him making a deep run here as well. Of course, you have Crewfix. You see the top card of the deck is a Savage Knuckleblade. See if Ferguson has land to play. It appears a Temple of Mystery in hand.
Yeah, if his only land is Temple of Mystery, then the Knuckleblade is a little bit awkward because he can't cast the Knuckleblade and give haste in the same turn. But he has a Wooded Foothills, so all should be good.
A Forest here from Ketter. And now Deathmish Raptor to play a little bit of defense. Gonna head back Ferguson's way. Knuckleblade appears as though it will be the draw, though he could shuffle it away with the Foothills. We'll see.
It's certainly gotten a lot worse in the face of Deathmish Raptor.
Yeah, to say the least. That's what Ferguson, I think, is considering here on his upkeep. I would be tempted to shuffle this away. Knuckleblade has a lot of abilities, but none of them really allow it to get past Deathmish Raptor.
But you are giving up some flexibility with your Wooded Foothills. And if this is the only 4-power creature, I think his hand contains both Stubborn Isle and Crater's Claws. So he might feel like he just needs to take a 4-power creature, even though it's not ideal for the setup. Looks like he's going to get rid of it, though.
Yep.
But that is a tougher decision than it looks like on the face of it because of the nature of Andy's hand. He's really in the market for a 4-power creature, even if it doesn't line up very well against Deathmish Raptor.
He'll take a mountain. Forest on top of the deck. Forest will be the draw for the turn. Next card down is a Thunderbreak Regent. Going the Skies against Kent's deck is helpful, but the Skies are not an incredibly safe place because Kent has very large dragons.
They are on the slower side, though.
Very true.
He's not doing it on turn 4 for the most part.
There's a Forest from Ferguson. All he can do is pass the turn back. Not a lot going on over there for Andy just yet. Thunderbreak Regent next turn, though, should be fairly helpful. For Ketter, he'll start by attacking with Deathmish Raptor. Ferguson going to go down to 17. Here's a Corsair Crewfix for Kent. Top card, Satyr Wayfinder, the land, Llanowar Waste. Pass the turn back. Ferguson will draw that copy of Thunderbreak Regent. Whispered Elemental on top of the deck. Here comes Corsair.
Love this attack. You got him. What? You laughed. That's 2 free points.
I like the attack too. You're just very boisterous.
But people, I'm boisterous because people don't make those kind of attacks often enough.
It's basically a freebie.
It's a freebie. And Kent didn't block.
2 points through. Those 2 points could end up mattering.
I mean, he hits in increments of 4 here. Now Kent's below 20. I don't know. I just love the instinct of making that attack because people just don't look for those plays often enough.
A Satyr Wayfinder is going to turn over a Thoughtseize, a Satyr Wayfinder, a Dragonlord Jamoka, and a Corsair Crewfix. Let's see what's on top of the deck here for Ketter. Den Protector. There's a Haven of the Spirit Dragon. Trigger the Corsair back up to 20. Gotta be be a little concerned now if you're Ketter.
I already know how this plays out. He's going to try Hero's Downfall, the Thunderbreak Reach. He's going to take 3, get Separate Denial, hit for a bunch, and then Crater's Claw is going to kill him. That's because of the 2 points that Andy got in on that.
You can see the future.
Yeah, I can already see how this game plays out.
Here comes Deathmiss Raptor. Do you love this attack?
Well, this one is on board bad to block.
It's a little more obvious. Okay. This one didn't get you as excited. I see.
Pretty hard to mess up that attack.
Ferguson will draw his Wishwood Elemental. Crater's Claw's on top of the deck. It's Fireball City. Here comes Thunderbreak. Ketter going to take that damage. It appears, yeah, going to go down to 16. Crater Claws on top is pretty tough.
Yeah, it's not ideal to be playing Whisperwood Elemental here because you sort of don't want to manifest that Crater's Claws.
You're playing against a deck where Fireball is really good, too.
Really good. But there's also a chance that if you play Whisperwood Elemental that Kent just uses a removal spell on that and you sort of get the best of both worlds.
Sure. Temple. I'm going to light you up.
Oh, yeah.
There's a Hero's Downfall. This is not good. Yeah.
Yes.
Stubborn Isle is going to take care of Hero's Downfall. There's a trigger on Thunderbreak region and a big Fireball that resolved. This is
Andy is my favorite player that we don't get to watch very much.
Yep.
It's just like his decks are always sweet.
He plays them really well. Kent staring at a Fireball on top of the opponent's deck.
Oh, yeah.
You saw, that's it.
Yep.
Andy Ferguson's going to win game number 1 here over Ketter. Teamer Dragons up a game over Green Black Dragons. A very well-played game by the Teamer Dragons player. You saw it coming a mile away.
He is great.
We go to the sideboards here. We'll start with Kent and his 3 copies of Ultimate Price, a Dragon Lord Dramoka, a Dragon Lord Salumgar, an Ugin the Spirit Dragon, 3 Foul Tongue Invocation, 2 Duress, 2 Drown in Sorrow, and 2 Tasker the Golden Fang.
The 3 copies of Foul Tongue Invocation seem great for this matchup. Andy's deck is kind of cumbersome. There's no token generation. There's no super cheap flood of permanence, so Foul Tongue Invocation's great. I think the Ultimate Prices are fine removal spells for the matchup. You're going to see Courser Grufix, probably Stormbred Dragon, Whisperwood Elemental, and so forth. Past that, Tassiker may be an upgrade over some of the other, delve cards you're trying to use for additional efficiency, but I do really, really like the copies of Ultimate Price and Foul Tongue Invocation especially.
On the other side here for Ferguson, there are 2 Wild Slashes, 3 Disdainful Strokes, 3 Roast, 2 Encased in Ice, 2 Dent Protectors, and 3 Anger of the Gods. Disdainful Stroke is a delight in this matchup.
Disdainful Stroke is excellent. I think the Dent Protectors will come in as well because the matchup's a little bit on the slower side, especially once you pair that with Disdainful Stroke. That's very challenging on Kent's deck. That's ultimately about trying to resolve some pretty expensive permanents.
We take a look at the Season 3 schedule here for the Open Series. We, of course, started with the Grand Prix last weekend in Charlotte. Congratulations to the champion there, Michael Malone, with his Elves deck in Modern. Very, very impressive stuff there. We're in Indy right now. We'll be crowning a champion. Next weekend, we go to Baltimore.
After that, we're going to take a little bit of time off at the beginning of July, but then we go to Chicago for the first time in Open Series history. Then we head to Richmond for a standard Open Series event. Legacy will be in Washington, D.C., then a standard Grand Prix in London, August 14th through 16th. We head back to Charlotte for a Modern Open Series event. And then to close out the month of August, the Season 3 Invitational in New Jersey, Standard and Legacy as the invitational formats with a 2-day, $20,000 Standard Open Series event, August 28th through the 30th.
We can't forget, of course, for everyone who signs up for our main events on the Open Series, you will get this Tassapur, the Golden Paw playmat with, I believe it's Bananas the Slave Dog.
Bananas the Slave Dog. He's hanging out. He seems relatively happy, I guess. You never know. But anyhow, this playmat free with any entrance to a Season 3 Open Series event. We don't mail it to you. It's not for the first X people who register. You get it on site, free with your entry, and there's no cap on the number of these that you can receive over the course of the season as well.
So come on down, playing some Open Series events. Get that for the main event. Both these players have gotten one in Ketter and Andy Ferguson, but only one has a win in this match so far, and it is Mr. Ferguson with a very well-played game with his Teamer Dragons deck.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Crater's Claw, Stemmer Nile, Thunderbreak region, a recipe to victory. See if Ketter can bounce back here. I mean, definitely has some good sideboard options, that's for sure. Foul Tongue Invocation
Foul
seems
Tongue
especially
is
nice.
it's basically made for this kind of matchup.
Yeah.
You're playing against a deck that's full of 3 and 4 mana creatures. A lot of them are troublesome to target with spot removal because they trigger or they have some sort of immunity built in or what have you. You're being attacked, so gaining 4 life is a huge deal. This is about as good of a matchup for Foul Tongue Invocation as you can draw up.
We'll see how the cards will play out here in just a moment. Again, keep in mind, if you guys do want to join on the conversation at SCG Live, hashtag SCGINDY, and also send tweets directly to us at Cedric A. Phillips or at Basic Mountain, as we will be discussing cards from Magic Origins this weekend. Your thoughts on Standard, any other fun questions that you do have. And eventually, we're cutting to a top 8 here. Elimination rounds, make our predictions, all that good stuff, and crown a champion. $5,000, 25 Open Series points, and of course, an invite to our Season 3 Invitational will be given away this weekend.
A lot of good stuff.
Absolutely. And if last year's Invitational in New Jersey's Indication, going to be a pretty big event.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah, that was a big one. A lot of fun, too. Of course, Tom Ross beating Reed Duke in the finals of that tournament to go back-to-back. Super memorable.
You sarcastically ask all the time, why do we go to New Jersey all the time? Setting aside all of the very obvious answers to that.
It's not sarcasm.
It is consistently our best attended invitational. Now there's going to be some pressure here because Richmond and Columbus were both huge.
Yeah, Columbus was the biggest one.
Huge invitationals.
Columbus was the biggest one because Ohio's great. Duh. So we'll see what your Jersey folk can do down there on the shore.
We're not really that close to the shore.
Kent gonna take a mulligan. Aren't you, though?
No, the tournament site's pretty close to Rutgers University, which I guess is not that far away from the ocean, but it's certainly not the shore by any stretch. It's pretty close to the shores of Staten Island, but that's not.
You know what's actually kind of nice is that I think most people have forgotten the Jersey Shore existed by now.
Yeah, it's no longer the same. It doesn't occupy the same space in pop culture that it did a couple of years ago, which is nice.
That's actually pretty fortunate. Looks like Kent is going to keep his 6. Green means go, so here's a temple. Top card to the bottom. I believe he kept a 1-lander with a temple. He's hoping to get there. Andy, top card to the bottom. Kent, how'd we do? Nope. Does Andy have lands? Yep.
Well, Andy kept 7, so.
Yeah, I've kept worse 7s. Here's an Opulent Palace. And Kent does have things to do with 2 mana. I mean, no one's a big fan of playing Den Protector face up, but it's something to do if it comes down to that.
I mean, I like a Stratus Dancer face up. I'm less excited about it. I mean, I like casting my 2-drops, don't get me wrong, but I'm not that thrilled about a face up Den Protector.
Very tough man to please.
Yep. But as you said, Ken can't be too picky, and he's going to have tons of stuff to do with his band over the next couple turns, assuming he draws some lands.
Is it time for Mr. Knuckleblade? Nope, just a Courser. A little more honest.
I don't know. Knuckleblade is about as honest as it gets.
Draconic Roar on top of the deck. Did Ketter draw a land? It looks like the answer is yes. Land of War Waste. So Deathmish Raptor, pass the turn back. It's a nice juicy target for that Draconic Roar. That'll be the draw there for Ferguson. Stubborn Nile on top of the deck. There's a Haven of the Spirit Dragon. Now there's Draconic Roar revealing Thunderbreak Regent. This allows Ferguson to come across here for 2 points of damage. In a way, it feels like Kent got exactly what he wanted on that turn.
Yeah, it's a bit of a giveaway, right? If he's willing to play a 3/3 into the face of your Draconic Roar.
Yeah.
But Kent just didn't have anything else better to do. There wasn't really a trap being set there. He just didn't have anything better to do.
He could have just played Courser that turn.
Well, I think he wants to make sure that he gets one shot at the land drop.
Sure. There's a copy of Encase in Ice.
I was not sure if this was going to come in because a lot of Kent's creatures either aren't green or red or are generating value on the way in or the way out. But it's not bad in this spot.
Yeah, I think Encase in Ice is actually a little bit better than it appears on the surface in this matchup. It can shut down Dragonlord Dromoka. It can shut down Dragonlord Atarka.
Well, Dromoka is a great target for Encase of Ice. Atarka's still doing quite a bit on the way in.
Sure.
And a lot of Ken's creatures are like that. They're being productive even if they're tapped because of comes into play triggers, or in Courser's case, still doing the Courser thing, but it does have some nice targets.
Thunderbreak Region is down. And I believe Mr. Ferguson has a Stubborn Owl in hand and on top of the deck to give it a little bit of protection. So this is a tough spot here for Ketter because he is so choked on mana at this point. All I can do is pass the turn back. Stubborn Owl the draw. Whispered Elemental on top of the deck. Here comes Thunderbreak Region and Courser. Hero's Downfall going to go after there. Stubborn Owl going to take care of that. So this is going to be a hit for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points of damage, and that's a fireball, and that's going to get the job done. Andy Ferguson going to win this match here over Ken Ketter, 2-0. Team of Dragons slices and dices its way through green-black Dragons. Andy Ferguson is now 10-1 in this tournament.
Yeah, an unfortunate game 2 there for Kent, obviously mulliganing and dying with a lot of spells in his hand, but